Thanks, Santosh, and thanks everyone for joining us. Looking forward to telling you guys about what we are doing and how we can help some of you guys uh, so that you leave some of the development to us and focus more on the core products for your respective apps. That's kind of like the idea of Web3 is building together. So yeah, we want you guys to not build as much as you can, and wherever we can help you, it'll be great. So yeah, I'll just quickly share my screen. So before I even tell you guys about what OnMeta does, I just want to take a few minutes talking about user onboarding in Web3 and in general. Uh, just going back to the basics, like what is the goal of user onboarding? The single most important goal is product adoption. You can look at different metrics, but at the end of the day, you want the users to use your product, right? That whether it's Web 2, Web 3, blockchain or not, that's the core principle remains the same, right? And what is like the best way to onboard users and drive product adoption is, amongst many other things, you'd want the users to achieve their goal fast, right? They have come to your platform to do something, right? Uh, and you don't want to make it too complicated upfront, introduce too many steps upfront, so that the users get spooked off and like they drop off at different parts of your funnel. You want them to achieve their goal fast in minimum number of steps in minimum amount of time, so that it gives them that aha moment, uh, or that instant gratification of using your product and what benefit your product will drive to them, right? So we need to focus on making sure that while we are focusing on our tech stack and whatever we are building, we are also making it users to do whatever they are coming on our platform with. If the goal is to buy an NFT, then that's what the focus should be on, right? You ensure that the user is able to buy that NFT in minimum number of steps and minimum amount of time, right? Why this is important, I'll just take you guys back to a little bit of the Web 2 space, which seems kind of forgotten these days. Is every brand, every company has to do that in starting up, right? Like I was at Rapido with Bharat and we realized that if we got someone to take 2 rides in their first week, uh, then that delivers an aha moment. That drives, that communicates the value of Rapido. And then we see a sort of a flat curve when it comes to our retention cohort, right? So a user is way more likely to stay with us if they've completed 2 rides in first week. For Twitter, a similar study was done. They found out if you are following 30 people and getting 10 of them to follow you back, that is where that tipping point of that aha moment comes across, right? So you have to define for your respective dApp what is that aha moment and how you need to do everything that you can in order to ensure that the user has a very sort of seamless experience while that happens. Right? And I keep talking about how do we onboard a billion users in Web3? How do we solve some of these user onboarding challenges? What are the things that we need to solve for? And like then I'll tell you about how OnMeta is helping solve bulk of these things. Is if you like, you need to define your competitors well. You are essentially also competing with your Web2 counterparts. So when you look at UX, particularly, right, or any particular component of UX, for example, payments. So if you want to get mainstream users to adopt your product, then you have to think about the payment experience or the UX in general of Web2, and then start like when you define your feature parity in your product roadmap, then you don't just an NFT marketplace doesn't just compete with another NFT marketplace, right? That's too myopic when it comes to defining your product roadmap. Uh, so that is something that you need to do well, and then accordingly define the UX. Secondly, you also need to build trust with these users, right? You need to be very transparent about the pricing on your platform, the cost that the user will incur. At the same time, you also don't want to inundate them with too much information which they might not understand. And remember, we are talking about mainstream users here and not crypto natives, right? Then UX, I covered that. I won't talk much about that. And then last aspect is interoperability, right? Like we have many chains, many different tokens. They have different utility factors. We don't want the users to get lost into all of those different silos. And like I am a firm believer. I Some of my counterparts don't like have a different view, but I'm a firm believer that interoperability will be a key growth driver going forward, especially when it comes to mass market adoption. Right, we users want uh, an all-encompassing kind of a solution. They don't really want to go to different places for different use cases, so to say. Uh, right, and so how like I'll give you an example of what what I mean when I say that the UX is not great today, and like then how it will be different with OnMeta. So I think it'll help you guys paint a picture in your heads in terms of how simplified the UX can become from where it is today, right? So let's take a GameFi app, right? Today, in order to in order let's say that GameFi app has a native token on which is required for the user to interact with that app, right? Now again, like if you go back to the user onboarding principles, what is the aha moment here? The aha moment could be something like you want the user to play X number of games or something, right? Like that is your aha moment, right? That is when the users will start understanding the value out of your dApp. But in order for them to do that, they need to purchase the native token, right? How can they do that? Today, they have to first either go to an exchange or to a DEX. Uh, if it is a like gaming token, most likely it will probably not be on exchange if it's not a popular one. Uh, then they have to go to DEXs. So the mainstream users will need to understand what a DEX is, which DEX this particular token is on, then make an account there and buy that token from there. Then you transfer that to your non-custodial wallet. Uh, Sorry, in this case, like if uh, if it is a native token, if it is a uh, gaming token that you need to either buy from DEX or if you buy from an exchange, then you most likely will buy a stable coin or Bitcoin, Ethereum. Then you will do a swap with that particular token through either in MetaMask or through a DEX, and then you use it in your gaming app, right? So there are like 4 steps involved, and it includes knowledge of multiple different like technology systems or platforms within the Web3 ecosystem, right? Versus now let me show you. This is where I'll take a step back and like I'll play a video and show you guys the live like how on Meta checkout experience is. So just to give you guys context, this is purchasing PS1, which is the native token of Polysports. They are a client of on Meta. So this video will show you how like what's the interface, what's the user experience when it comes to uh, buying Polysports on MetaMask itself.
Guys, some people can mute. Thank you.
Correctly.
Tarun, can you mute yourself? Tarun, you need to mute. I'm not able to mute you.
I think it's coming from Prateek end itself.
Oh, is it? Okay.
Coming from the video.
Oh, is it? Okay. That's okay. Ignore. Apologies, Tarun. I think it's not you. It's Pratik's. Okay.
So yeah, as you can see that the transaction went through in less than 1 minute, and towards the end we show the Polygon scan success of the transaction, as well as you could see the PS1 deposited in the wallet. And this is like just for the demo we have used MetaMask as an example. If it is integrated, like if a DApp is integrated with us, then even they don't need to, like the wallet address will also get auto captured directly through APIs. The user doesn't need to put that as well. So yeah, just to again like draw a comparison of how the UX could look like, right? The user doesn't need to leave the DApp to go to different platforms. All they need to go do is like just make the payment, and then within that same uh, in a very native experience, the user can purchase the token, and this whole like multi-step process with drop-offs at each stage gets reduced. So I'll just take a like quick pause here if to see if there are any like thoughts, questions, comments before I move
Yeah.
forward. I want to keep it interactive and not like
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. I think, we have a couple of names, Rakesh, Santosh. Yeah, Rakesh, go ahead. I think you raised the hand first, so go ahead, please. Ask your
Yeah,
question.
I do have a question regarding taxations. Like, since you are dealing with INR directly, are you facing any problems related to tax and all in India? I don't know, something like, since Indian government is not really sure about what to do with crypto scenario. So
no. It is. I mean, that is simplifying the whole thing way too much. Our view, because we have extensive relationships with banks, as well as we keep talking to like a lot of people in the community. Our view is that uh, the government wants to regulate the industry, uh, and they are in the midst of figuring it out. And until that happens, we'll see some randomness and uncertainty and all of those things. But no, we don't like, at least we don't personally hold the view that it's all very negative. The second part of your question is on the tax itself, right? So that's not really like a question mark, right? There are guidelines around TDS and GST, which OnMeta is complying to. Uh, so when you, like, to give you an example, when you uh, purchase, let's say 10,000 INR worth of tokens, uh, and then like we make a 1% TDS deduction there itself, and then there is a GST on our commission as well. So we are complying to both the TDS and GST requirements as well. There's nothing opaque about tax, to be honest.
so for the user, is it going to be expensive than the normal?
Is it going to be expensive on the normal, as in, sorry?
The general way of dealing with NFTs and cryptos compared to that.
Not necessarily. So basically what we are doing is, we, instead of the users doing the swaps at their end and like paying a gas fee in their end, and getting confused in all of that, we are doing, if required, we are doing the swaps at our end, and we are basically, all of that is, so all different kinds of costs are sort of baked into this one nice commission, which we'll communicate to the user that this is what it is for. uh, so the user, if like, if I had to make a claim, then it is actually cheaper for the user to transact from like to on ramp via OnMeta, because A, they don't pay the swap fee, and B, on the token price itself, because we source from multiple dexes as well as exchanges. uh, so we have a price, like competitive price algorithm running in the backend, a price quotation API, which fetches you the best price from these. So more often than not, like we keep comparing our prices to exchanges and all, because that's what you compare. Like that was said, comparing the normal. So even if you buy a stable coin, right? Like even if you buy USDC via OnMeta versus, let's say, any of the exchanges popular in India, you'll end up seeing a 2%, 3% of variance there. Like if USDC is 83 rupees on the exchanges, it'll mostly be 81, 82 rupees on OnMeta. So you save on the token price itself, and then you save on the swap cost, and then all of that is baked into just the platform commission.
Super. Good to
So
hear.
you're not okay. So you're not just simplifying the transactions. You're also saving up money for the user itself.
Yep.
Okay,
Great.
good.
Especially for
Super.
Indian users, right? Like the more money you save for them, the easier it is to onboard them.
Let's go to Santosh. He has a question. I think somebody also had raised. I think Arul has a question around KYC requirement. So let's go to Santosh, and then we'll get Rohan and then Arul
Sure.
also.
Sure.
Hey, Santosh, thanks for hosting this. Prateek, simple question.
Just to bring everybody on the same page, we host this every Thursday at 6 p.m. Next week, you will have something else, right? Here, we are proving to the world there are fantastic guys building Web3 products. So Web3 is not hype, Web3 is reality. And that's what OnMeta is showing one example. Please go ahead with your question.
Awesome. So Prateek, how are you doing the off-ramps, considering anyone can have their crypto? And considering we are building something similar to Dream11 in Web3 space, and onboarding is one of the issues. So we want to onboard people with the crypto, with fiat, and use the crypto ecosystem and offboard the crypto to back to INR. So how easy for anyone to input fiat and take out the fiat back?
So they cannot input fiat and then take fiat back. Then that is not on-ramping. So you are saying that if someone off-ramps in one single transaction, then they are not ramping.
Not in one single transaction.
No, but like, yeah. But it works like exactly the same way, but in reverse, right? So basically, it's as simple as like how I showed it for on-ramp. But to sort of explain to you how we are doing this, right? Basically, what we do is we hold some liquidity in a stable coin. So let's say you have initiated an on-ramp transaction with me. Then as soon as I validate the collection of fiat from you, then if you've requested for the token which I already hold, then I just like deposit those tokens in your wallet. If it is another token, something which I don't already have in my pool, then I will immediately trigger a swap and fetch that token through whichever multiple dexes that we have integrated with, and that token gets deposited in your wallet, right? For off-ramp, this is exactly the opposite, right? Once I validate the receipt of tokens from your wallet to my our treasury wallet, then we deposit the fiat back to your choice of payment method. Like in most cases, it is the source payment method. And I'll also sort of just take another question within this answer itself is the KYC requirement, right? So typically the users need to do KYC, like that's the guideline. But for smaller transactions, like up to a certain limit, they don't need, and it can vary for different kinds of apps. So if let's say they do have to do KYC, then that also when they're on ramping, they are doing KYC as well as they must have used some payment method to on ramp. So the same source payment method gets activated for off ramp, or the user also has the option to specify a bank account or specify a payment method where they want to receive the fiat.
Awesome. Do you have a SDK in place? Can we start exploring or start using it in our platform?
For sure. No, so we have both widget and API based integrations. Our on-ramp API, our on-ramp product is already live and being used by multiple dApps. Our off-ramp product is in testing. I've been told that by this weekend it'll be in production. So next week onwards, I can start sharing the off-ramp details as well. But what I'm doing is I'm leaving my email on this. So please shoot an email to me, and then I'll reply back with integration documents, and we can also set up a call separately for you guys to know more about what we are doing.
Sure, I'll do that. Thank you.
Great, Santosh. Good question. I think on that KYC, you pointed out certain things, Prateek. I think Arul had a question, the KYC requirement. If Arul wants to come in, most welcome, Arul.
Hey, Arul, hi.
Yeah, hi Prateek. Just a question. I mean, while I understand that for a certain sum, KYC might not be required, but continuous transactions from the same bank account might mandate a KYC requirement or so, right? And
Right.
also, I believe it depends on type of transactions, if I'm not wrong.
Yep.
Right? It is not just the value alone. So,
Yep. There are other
how is
parameters.
that happening?
So basically, we do our platform does the KYC. We have that facility. So whichever transactions need KYC, then we trigger that, and then the user has to share the KYC document with us from the app itself. And then for the user, the KYC doesn't need to be done multiple times, right? Obviously, right?
Yeah, got
For
it.
the first transaction, they just do it, and then for all the other transactions, they don't need to do it again.
Got it. Understood. I mean, just a follow-on question on that. So I didn't get a view of, what are the different payment modes at this point? Is it only bank account transfers right now?
No, so we are doing UPI, and
Okay.
that's pretty much the most important INR payment method.
Okay.
But the way we have configured that is that UPI also has certain restrictions, right? For example, there is the 1 lakh transaction limit, and in some cases there are it's not uncommon to see UPI payment failures as well, right? So what we have done is as plan A is the UPI, and then in whichever case, for whatever reason, we need to activate a backup, then we have the bank transfer facility as well. Right now, we don't have cards. We are talking to all the leading card players to build that capability as well. But to be very honest, in India, we don't really see that as a big mover for us. I think bulk of the transactions will get covered via UPI itself, but we'll definitely we'll have that in future.
So basically, money transfer focused with UPI as the channel, right?
Yep.
Token purchase focused on UPI as the channel. Got it. Okay.
Yep.
Brilliant.
Any specific differentiators with other products, or who you see as competitors, or how do you place yourself compared to them?
That is not going to name no one.
Like a good.
You don't need to name them, but you can call out, how yours is different, because
No, I'm
I
just
do
saying
see
a good ex-consultant. I have a slide for that. I'll pull it up.
Great, go ahead.
So
awesome.
see, it boils down to two things. One is we want to. So there are a bunch of global players that are doing this. MoonPay, Transact, Wire, Ramp, and a lot of these players are focused on the Western fiat currencies like USD, Euro, and Japanese yen, and all of that. But if you guys are as avid readers of the chain analysis report as I am, then you would see that major crypto adoption is happening in developing countries, Southeast Asia, Africa, even India. So our focus is to open up all these markets, all these growing developing markets for their respective local Web3 ecosystems as well as global dApps. So our pitch is simple, right? You want just USD Euro, go to MoonPay. If you want USD Euro plus these 10 other markets, then come to us. That's the number one way we want to differentiate ourselves. We want to build, because we understand that it's not like a child's play to go to a country, figure out the local regulations, build partnerships with the financial ecosystem players there, and then offer this, right? So it's not something that, oh, MoonPay will someday immediately come and do this. So that's why we want to, after India, we want to open up other, some of the markets, if I can drop names, is Philippines, Vietnam, even Nigeria. Those are all the different markets that we are looking at right now, talking to folks there, figuring out the regulations as well as compliance requirements, and hopefully within the quarter we'll be able to open up at least one or two more markets apart from INR. So that's number two is the processing speed. So something I spoke about earlier, right? How do you build trust with users? One of the big trust markers is, especially again when it comes to India and users from developing markets, is my payment has happened quickly, right? In Web2, UPI payments happen in seconds, with less than 10 seconds. That's the experience that users are habituated to, right? Now, if you guys are familiar with other existing on-ramp, off-ramp players, then you will see that their payments take like anywhere from like 5 minutes to 10 minutes, even 20 minutes, more than an hour in some cases, depending on what the payment method is. And that itself is enough to erode trust in your app, right? Like Indian users specifically are so fickle. If it is taking 5 minutes for their payment to get validated and their tokens to get deposited, who knows how many times they'll hit the support button and like bother you and bother us and like lose trust in your platform, right? And like you just saw in the demo that I showed you, the payment went through within like less than a minute. And so far we've processed almost 1 million plus worth of transactions overall, and 91% of those payments have happened in less than 60 seconds. So this also, we believe, will go a long way in establishing trust in Web3 dApps. Because sorry. Because like I had said earlier, right? Like the so I'm so sorry. Sorry, that was PB from OG Club. Yeah. So yeah, these are the two places where we believe we can sort of differentiate from other on-ramp players, as well as like there are smaller benefits, like we would be much more locally compliant in each of the local markets that we operate in. We There's also cost savings, like that is not a commitment that we can make, which is why we don't include it in our marketing pitch. But in most cases, the users will more often than not like end up saving costs as well in their purchases. When it like something I had alluded to earlier, that we need interoperable systems. So we are like originally built on Polygon, but we've also integrated Ethereum and Binance Smart Chain. So we have over 3,000 plus token coverage across these three chains, and we are continuously working to add more chains. Obviously, the hot crowd favorite is Solana, so that is our next chain that we are working on. And again, like we want to position ourselves as like a very developer friendly product. Like something I said earlier, that you guys focus on figuring out your tokenomics, figuring out what kind of NFTs you guys want to launch, what utility you want to drive. Leave all of this compliance and like regulations and like all of this headache to us. That's what we aim to do.
Super. So I think we have one more. Sai has a question. Sai, if you want to come in, that's okay. Otherwise, I will read that. Is your solution same as Banksa, BNXA offering? How is it different?
It's similar. Like I covered that basically. So Banksa is also another on-ramp. They are, I think if I'm not wrong, based out of Australia. So again, like in terms of INR, they don't do INR, and their developing market coverage is also pretty low. So again, the way to go forward is like the general 2 points that I mentioned, right? Our coverage in developing markets will be better, as well as we'll be a more reliable partner, because like you guys know, right? Like people can kickstart payments and like without following regulations and stuff, and then later on payment get halted. We face all sort of issues. So the probability of that happening is much lower with us, if not zero, compared to some of these other players. So that's what we want to focus on.
Okay, thanks for answer, Prateek. I just have a follow-up question on that. How are you placed on the licensing, especially on the MTL licenses?
I'm sorry, I did not understand that.
So especially apart from India, we are talking about the Philippines or any other region. Usually, most of these jurisdictions, they require you to get the money movement license to accept the fiat, and especially on the on-ramp, off-ramp solutions.
Partners. So like we'll forge relationships with local partners and build on top of their services.
Okay. Okay. Thank you.
Super. So we have one more question. I think Puneet. Puneet had a question saying that is there a amount for which you have to do KYC, or is it irrespective of the amount?
So it is like usually more than INR 10,000. So if the transaction size is more than that, then we do the KYC is mandatory. But like for some of like it's also like when it comes to amounts below than that, there's also a little bit of sort of discussion that we do with the client that depending on their customers, what kind of their transaction flow, their user experience and everything, we can, even if like it's not mandatory that we have to do KYC above 5,000 rupees, but we do because of like these other myriad reasons as well. So it's not as straightforward as this is just the limit of.
I think that'll be a 10K transaction, 10K LTV. Yeah. Super. I hope that answered your question, Puneet, or get the questions coming in. I do have one more. Somebody else had a question on the chat window before we reach out there. Yeah, guys, you can follow OnMeta on the Twitter, reach out to them on the Telegram. Prateek is here, Nirmal is there on the Twitter too, so you guys can
best way to reach out to us is drop me an email. Nirmal and I, we have an impeccable email management process going there. Nothing gets dropped from that, so reach out to us there.
That's a great way to leverage Web3's customers' experience and support also. So before I head out, I think Rohit and Rohan had raised hand. I'll go to Rohan. Yep. Rohan, please come in and ask your question.
Hey man, hi Rohan.
Yeah, very nice product. So is it launched and ready with developer access also and the widget also to integrate?
Yes.
Okay, super. And what's the commission rates like?
Drop me an email.
Oh, okay. And yeah, how long have you been building this and when did it exactly launch?
So we started developing in December last year. We launched the product in March, and then right now, as I had mentioned earlier, our on-ramp product is live and like it's multiple dApps are using it. So if you guys want to purchase a quick shameless plug for Web3 India conference, if you guys want to purchase tickets for Web3 India conference, that is powered by tickets.io, and we are doing on-ramp for them. So you can like if you buy the ticket right now, you will see the OnMeta experience.
So the ticket will be bought using a crypto token, which will be on-ramped. We'll be on-ramped on.
Yes.
Oh, superb. And what is the KYC document procedure that you follow? Which documents do you take for the KYC?
So it's like the selfie and PAN card.
Oh, you don't need Aadhaar?
We don't need Aadhaar.
Okay. And what about address? Address, date of birth, all of that?
No, it's just the PAN card and the selfie.
Okay.
Awesome.
And what about bank account verification? Do you need to do that?
Again, we don't. It's a bank transfer, so we don't need to do the bank account verification. So,
but
basically,
how do you know which account it came from, and how do you reconcile?
Because the user UTR with us, and then we validate it from the backend.
Oh, wow! So you don't need to ask any UPI address that they're depositing beforehand as well.
No, they just so it's a two-step payment. Like every payment they do, they share the UTR number.
Okay. Nice. Okay.
Yep. No, I mean, feel free to like reach out to me. I'm happy to send you guys the integration docs as well as like share the commercials as well.
Sure. Yeah. Great. So their details are there on the chat message. Feel free to join the Foundership Telegram channel. We would bring them quite often too.
Yes.
I love the product. And
I'm also pretty active on Foundership Telegram channel. So like that is the second fastest way to reach us at this time, I would say.
Thank you. Yeah, I'll keep the trust. And for any of you who are in this space right now, if you are building a tool, if you have a product that you want to showcase, please reach out ping me on the Telegram, ping me on the Twitter. We'll love to bring you every Thursday at 6 p.m. IST. Somebody suggested maybe we should do at 7 p.m. or 8 p.m. I'll take a note of that. But let's the question continue. Prashant, you have raised your hand and you wanted to ask some question, please.
Yeah, so like everyone was asking about KYC particularly, right? So there are already solutions like black box which are already widely used in other products. So are there any plans to integrate such features into OnMeta solutions?
Yep. We'll be doing that as well.
Cool. I think that addresses one more friction point.
Yep. For sure. By the way, hey Prashant and I worked at Rapido together.
Oh, small world.
Yeah.
Alrighty.
I'm still at Rapido, Prateek.
Great. Guys, ask questions. I mean, this is very, very important and a great solution to have, because I think on-ramp and the way to facilitate, in fact, millions of users are already in Web2. If we can make it seamless, and this is a first experience, right? If my mom can use a Web2 product, she should be able to use a Web3 product. I'm like, not immediately, but I think that's the horizon all of us are looking. So feel free to ask any questions if you have for Prateek.
No, so for instance, OnMeta is not a platform to buy tokens. It's like a infrastructure layer that any Web3 dApp can integrate with them. So if you want to interact with, let's say, any of the DeFi app or any of these NFT marketplaces, then for your transaction checkouts as well as like off-ramp, OnMeta will be like a layer in between which will power that. Yes. Yeah.
So I had a quick question.
Yeah, go ahead.
So like who is actually liable to collect the KYC details? A company who is, like, you are doing it right here because you are collecting the payments from the customer, right?
Yep.
So is it the responsibility of the company who is collecting the payments from their customer, or is it the responsibility of the company who is processing the payments?
It is. So because we are in like collecting the payments from the user directly, so then we are like, we have to do the KYC.
Okay, got it. So it like can it work like this? Like I am collecting payments through Razorpay, and like we are giving them directly the points from our side. So in this case, Razorpay is liable to collect the KYC, or should I collect the KYC?
Again, like I did not
So
understand.
suppose there's a company who don't want to use OnMeta as of now. Obviously, it's a very good solution and makes our life easier. But if we want to do it ourselves on our, in that case, suppose a company is ABC and they want to give tokens to their users, and and they know like their users are not like coming from web world, so the users will be happy to make payments to UPI, and to collect those payments, they are using Razorpay. And once the payment is received, they are sending the coins to their wallet.
I got you. So it's actually whoever is releasing the tokens needs to do the KYC. So in our case, we are doing both. We collect the fiat and the crypto, so we are anyway liable. But if in your example, it's your dApp which is releasing the token, not
Got it.
So they keep the questions coming, guys. This is very, very, very helpful for us as well, and also really good to see the interest in the product.
Yeah, I have some questions. So you mentioned ticket can be bought from OnMeta, right? I had some right there. So are you talking that you deposit the rupees and you directly get the ticket, or do you get the token and then
So the tickets for Web3 India conferences are NFTs. So you need to mint the NFTs. So what happens is, again, we collect the fiat payment from you, and then deposit the NFTs in your wallet.
Directly, right? So you basically NFTs are getting bought from rupees directly.
Yeah.
Okay, very interesting then.
Okay, Arun, go ahead, please.
Hi, Prateek. So I had like a question related to the liquidity. So is there any limit to how much purchase can be processed?
The other way, like we solve it the other way. Like you tell us in advance, like what are your plans, how much liquidity we should plan for, and then like we can plan for that. Obviously, there's a limit of how much we hold in our pool. We do it. We have our own projections, but we try to like get the projections from our clients that how much volumes are they expecting. So then accordingly we can be prepared.
Okay. So like if a user wants to do a swap, so he'll first have to request that liquidity from you, and then make a large quantity swap if he has to make like on run.
No. The user doesn't need to do a swap. Like the user can just do a large. So again, like for example, it's a DeFi app, and you want to like that DeFi app is our client, and let's say their user is Tarun. So Tarun can just place a large transaction, like whatever transaction he or she doesn't need to like tell OnMeta or anything about that. But that DeFi app themselves will know like what will be their volume flow and everything. So they will tell us. So we will keep that liquidity ready in our like to process that transaction.
Okay, thank you.
So Alfred, I already covered this question. So yeah, we OnMeta will be doing the KYC. So you will not be liable. And tax regulation are not, again, because we are tax compliant, so you will be. So there will be no extra regulatory burden on you. And yes, last thing is yes, user will pay us the fiat, and then that DApp will get crypto from that DApp will not get crypto from us. Through that DApp, we will get the wallet address of the user, and we will directly deposit the tokens in the user's wallet address.
Excellent. Yeah, I think guys, if you don't have any questions, this has been a longest in our lives of Web3 tools. Generally, it gets over in 25-30 minutes. People get bored, but I think this is a very important topic. Great product equally, and I think you are very enthusiastic about extending support. So I guess you will find all the informations about OnMeta on the right side channel, onmeta.in, Prateek at onmeta.in. Do join their Telegram. They are very active on the right there on the Twitter. Please feel free to reach out them. If we don't have any questions, Fanindra has a question. Fanindra, I would say definitely you should join the OnMeta Telegram channel too, because you.
Yeah, I did join actually.
Yeah.
Yeah. The question is regarding if OnMeta is a B2B channel, and what is it for the requirements of KYC and all of that?
KYC will be collected from the users. So again, like going back, so whatever.
What is the point of collecting the PAN card details of any user?
Sorry?
I mean, I'm an individual. What is it used for in the OnMeta?
No, you don't. You will not, as a user, you will not see simple uses like for end users, for B2C users. Sure, we are also like a exchange from where they can buy tokens, but why will they right from us directly? What we enable is that if you as a user want to interact with any Web3 dApp, then there OnMeta will be powering that transaction for that dApp, so that you as a user find it very easy to interact with that.
Okay, through
right now, sorry,
OnMeta, as far as what I understood from this meeting actually is like for an individual, OnMeta provides a crypto tokens to buy. For a B2B, it is a platform
for an individual, OnMeta provides nothing right now.
Okay.
B2B.
It's just that we integrate with dApps, and then those dApps users like just interact with that dApp through OnMeta.
Like a UPI services.
Yeah.
Like I mean, I don't like to draw this comparison, but it's kind of like a razor pay for Web3.
Absolutely.
Like, if that helps.
Or I would say Stripe for Web3.
Stripe.
But can't users also buy from your on Meta directly?
They can, but I mean,
That's not user.
there's no direct use case. Like it's the same thing as buying from an exchange. So
I would recommend Panindra to take these questions off on the Telegram. I think there are a lot of those questions. I'm sure you would be able to get one.
Or you just feel free to set up a call with me and we can I'm happy to answer questions individually as well.
Super. To go back, I'll come back to Panindra, but I'll go to Pranav. Had a question saying how many fiat currencies.
So we are just doing INR right now, but just to recap, we have plans to open up Philippines, Vietnam, and Nigeria as next markets.
Super. Rohit has a question saying how big is the team at OnMeta? This is definitely a question that you're going to get often.
We have 12 people right now.
KYC data.
We have 12 people right now. Most of that is except me, Bharat, and Nirmal, all of them are engineering.
Okay. Super. And how are you protecting users' KYC data? The data that you got from,
I mean, it's stored safely.
Sorry, Prateek. Sorry. I think Prateek is taking so many.
Yes.
Sorry. And I'm from OnMeta as well. So we use KYC players, right? We don't do KYC on ourselves. We are not a core KYC player, so we use Onfido, Hyperverge, other KYC player to do the verifications because they are a veteran players in this field, right? Yeah.
Okay, great. Super. So I think we had a fantastic session, guys. Thank you for staying back so long and asking those questions. I'm sure one of the format that I always love is when I hear questions from others, I learn from those questions because I might not be thinking in that way. I think that is the format that we have loved it doing at Foundership, and the reason to do this is also to bring folks from variety of backgrounds, problem statements, and their own experiences. So absolutely great, delightful session. You tune in for the next Thursday. May not be 6 p.m., but I will announce that on the Telegram. And any questions for Prateek, Nirmal, Bharat, and OnMeta team, you have got all the details.
Yeah.
They've been super supportive. Please go out, deep dive, and let's build this.
Apply to 0x Camp if you guys haven't already.
Thank you.
It's a fantastic platform. Please do the same as well. Yeah.
Super. So we run 0x Camp as an incubation program, 3-week, and OnMeta is also a partner in that. And we're doing on 30th July, 10th August coming in Chennai, 20th August coming in Mumbai, Pune, and 17th September coming in, 10th September coming in Hyderabad. So most welcome. Let's build Web3 products from India for the world. Thank you so much.
Let's all build together, guys.
Santosh, I had a question regarding 0x Camp. May I ask?
Please ping me on the on the Telegram. I will call you on a phone.
Sure. That works. Thank you.
Thank you so much, guys. Thank you.